Oh. I'm live again. Is anybody in the house? Is somebody here? Let me know in the comments below. This was an unscheduled live stream. Let me know if you exist in the comments below. I like to sing. Oh yeah. Hey, what's up? ASH. I know you. Salam alaikum. What's going on? We're gonna wait for a few people. And we're gonna get this party started. I like this this new thing I bought. NASA. Where? Here it is. Really cool. Anyways, dunya is nothing. Hey, thank you guys for showing up. This is awesome. I didn't plan on this live stream again because it's my first weekend back here in Prague, but I figured, hey, I have some time before the evening, so let's just catch up with people and see what's up, because there's been a lot of things going on in the world. Hey, yo, Salam, Abdullah, what's going on? Elbow cough. Nice hoodie. Yes, it is nice. I just bought it 5 minutes ago. It's pretty cool. Tune the EA show. Hey, what's up, Joe Baz? Random Sports. Hey, bro, assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam, mashallah. Hey, how is everybody doing after Ramadan? How was your Eid? Let me know in the comments. How was your Eid? Where are you from? What country? What time zone? Who am I talking to? Because we're building a community and we are about to hit 3,000 subscribers, which I thought would be impossible, because just getting to 100 subscribers took me like a year or something like that. And I had to delete most of the videos because they were terrible. And I didn't have a message. I didn't have anything to promote. No mission. I was just talking out of my head. But now we're on the message, man. Salamian, hey Ahmed, what's going on? Mine was lonely. Assalamu alaikum, Faizan. Alaikum salam. Eid Mubarak. Hey, from US. Yes. Which state in the USA? Salam alaikum salam. Dr. Somi. Eid Mubarak, London. Yes. London's in the house. What's going on, everybody? So, Eid, yeah, mine was lonely as well. We had a prayer at about, I think, 8 a.m. here in Prague with a lot of people. I never realized how many Muslims are there until Ramadan came, because everybody comes out and tries to visit the mosque, and it was full. Usually, I became a Muslim a few months ago, and the mosque was half empty, sometimes even like just 5 people prayed Maghrib or some of these things. And now it was like fully packed, hundreds of people going back, forth. So it was really cool to see that there's a large Muslim community here in Prague. Like thousands of Muslims are here, but they are hiding from the government. No, they are just kind of, I think, under the radar. Not many Czechs or Slovaks, such as me. Anyways, I'm about to change that. Mauritania, what's going on there? Kashmir, India. Hey, you guys have some troubles, I've heard. Wales is good. Eid Mubarak Eid. Hey, Sahil, what's going on? Well, thank you guys for stopping by. Ramadan is done, and I'm getting used to eating again and drinking. I was just having a coffee outside. How are you adapting to your normal life? It's kind of strange, right? Going back, but yeah, Shaitan was after me right the first day. I mean, it's not easy. Anyways, let's discuss the main topic. This live stream is called "Why Are Non-Muslims Afraid of Muslims or Islam?" And I'm about to give you some of my perspective, because I was afraid of Islam. And I was actually, you might not know this, but maybe 7 years ago, when I bought my huge camera and everything, my plan was to make anti-Islam videos where I would take out passages from the Quran about violence and I would make videos about them. Strange, right? And yeah, so I know how people think if they want to about Islam, if they don't understand it. So we're gonna talk about that. Good topic. Yes, this is the main topic, guys. This is the main topic. Hey, Samira, what's up? I see you a lot online. What's going on? Alaikum salam. Bro, is Portugal nice to live? I want to move there. Portugal is the best to live, and me and my fiance, we were planning to live in Lisbon for a while before the COVID hit, so we couldn't travel. But now we are, yeah, Portugal is pretty good. But I'm planning to. I prefer islands or going into a Muslim country just to check it out. Eid Mubarak, Mubarak Eid, Mubarak Eid. What's going on? So, okay, why are non-Muslims scared of Islam or Muslims? And why can I talk about it? Because I was one of them. Plus, I don't look like a Muslim now, even though I'm growing some mustache and some beard. But as you can see, I'm a white Caucasian. It doesn't work well for me. I always had a problem growing beard. People made fun of me since I was like, I don't know, 12, 13. Everybody was hitting puberty, and I was always like the last one. So and my entire family doesn't have a lot. We're not very hairy people. And I know some of my friends who are from Slovakia, very hairy people. But Jan, no, I'm not that hairy, but I'm very huge. In terms of size, I'm like 190 centimeters. So I'm very tall. But I'm not hairy. So I'm growing something here, but it's not working. And I'm almost 30, so it's kind of embarrassing. Anyways, what can I do? Nothing. Alhamdulillah. Oh, I'm sorry, Samira, to hear about your aunt. Yeah, that's difficult. I mean, I haven't had any death in my family since I became Muslim, so Alhamdulillah. But you never know. Satan will make the good look scary. Yes, Ahmed, I know you're going to be David Wood of Slovenia. Hey man, Slovakia, if you ever say Slovenia, I'm gonna come and find you. We are not Slovenia. No, I'm just making jokes. But anyways, yeah, mixing Slovakia and Slovenia is not the same. Saying Czechoslovakia, again, this will get you in trouble. You guys will learn something about Central and Eastern Europe from watching my videos, because Slovenia and Slovakia are two separate countries. We don't have any common history, but we are both Slavic nations, both small nations. But Slovenia is it's a smaller country, and they have a sea, and they are in Balkans. Slovakia was part of Czechoslovakia, and we don't have a sea, but we have big mountains. Anyways, I was in Slovenia, and I love the country, but the language is not the same. Czech Republic and Slovakia are much closer. That's why it was Czechoslovakia. So I'm gonna be David Wood of Slovenia. No, David Wood is such a weird man. I mean, I don't really watch his videos or nothing. I just watched a few where there was a debate with him and a sheikh from San Diego. I don't know his name, but he's a really good guy. I think it's from the One Message Foundation. It was embarrassing, but he was kind of cool in that debate, this David Wood guy. I can relate to the facial story. Mohammed, what's going on? Yeah, that's strange, because I don't know what's your ethnicity, but I presume people from Middle East, they have they have not a better chance, but they usually get hairy very quickly. I don't know, it's just like genes, right? I don't have that. Faith is more important than growing beard. Yeah, of course. I mean, this is not that important. Subhanallah. Okay, Sheikh Uthman, yes, and he's great. I like him. Anyways, guys, I have one question before we dive deep into this topic, because it is connected. Salam Yan, yes, Mohammed, what's going on? What do you guys think about Israel and Palestine? It started a few days ago, right? The conflict, and well, it didn't start a few days ago. It started hundreds of years ago. Not hundreds of years ago. Well, technically maybe, but it started in 1948. But anyways, what do you guys think of the conflict? I know we're probably on Palestine side, and I was actually on the protest yesterday. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. And yeah, we can kick it off from there, because this is a very, very, something that's going on right now. Ethnic cleansing, it's going on right now in Palestine. So we should be talking about it. And strangely enough, maybe you don't know this, but I do actually hold a master's degree in international relations and political science. And I used to travel all around Europe in different countries and meet with different governments. One of those was, who's the president of Turkey? Yeah, I met the guy as well. I met him. And then I've met a couple of other people. I was a nobody. I was just a member of like a youth political thing, and I don't really associate with it anymore. But I know we talked about Israel and Palestine a lot, but I didn't really understand the depth of history. Plus, I wasn't a Muslim, and I was coming there from a political kind of scientist background. Mashallah, mashallah. So I hold a degree in this, and I can actually teach like some international relations, but it's not really something I've been looking into for a few years. I've been in business just chilling it out. Hello, Fulcrum, what's going on? Protests will most likely do nothing. Yes, so I agree with you that protests are not effective, and it's mostly a screaming match between Israelis and Palestinians, because I actually made a video why protests don't really work effectively to bring about a political change. However, they do work in sort of creating pressure on the local government, for example, here or in different Western countries, because the West has the power and they can change things. So I'm not talking about the protest there, but the protest in like Canada or US or here. The thing is, because like in the Czech Republic, in Prague, we have under our castle now Jewish flag, Israeli flag. So it's clear, like we support Israel as like a country, right? Because why? Well, it's simple. Because they are the only democracy in the Middle East. So you identify with people based on values. They are part of the West. They are part of, they are not part of EU, but they are very kind of intertwined with European Union and with US. So each country has to put up the flag of Israel. It's not like we have a choice. And it's stupid because like we don't look past like the values or something or the politics at the misery of Palestinian people, but we just associate with them based on, well, because it's Israel, so we have to support them, which is dumb, right? You don't have to support Israel if you live in Europe. Like, it's not like how this works. But yeah, Israel-Palestine conflict will just grow by time. I agree, Sahil. It's not going to end soon. But you guys know, if you're a Muslim, you know from the Quran that every oppressor will at the end die. Like, they will at the end be destroyed. So it's just a matter of time, really, because none of the empires of the past or oppressors of the past are here anymore. Where are the Romans? Where are the Greeks? What happened to these people? They don't exist. So they do exist, but it's not an empire anymore. So we know this is going to happen. It just takes time. But what we can do, dua, and raise awareness and stuff like that, and sort of change the mind of people here in the Europe and US that, hey, this Palestine is not terrorism. People like in Palestine if you support Palestine, that doesn't mean that you support Hamas or that you support like suicide bombers. This is not the same thing. We just don't like the ethnic cleansing and the lack of electricity, the lack of water in Gaza. That, for example, the COVID vaccines were not distributed to people in Palestine, but Israeli people got all vaccinated before them. And under international law, you have to provide occupied territory with vaccines. So there's a lot of things going on, right? You have to. So there's many things that are wrong with the situation just based on international law. Not speaking about the whole occupation and everything like that. Anyways, that's something that is going on, and let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? And yesterday I was doing a Juma prayer in the mosque, and the Imam said like, hey, on the day of judgment, Allah will ask you, what did you do for Palestine in 2021? So you guys go ahead, and at 3 p.m. we'll meet in the Israeli embassy. So I was like, man, that's crazy. Should I go there? Because like a week ago I was like, this is too political, and I know how politics work. I know Netanyahu is using this because he lost. He had a very low sort of not a voter turnout, but it's more tied to politics. People use these situations to strengthen the power. It's not really about the religion, or it's not really about Jews and Israel and Arabs. It's more about maybe something behind the closed doors. And so this is oftentimes used to keep people in power. And, I know this because I used to be in politics, and I know politicians, and I know how they think. They use these situations to get votes and to increase fear in people so that they can be sort of used as protectors and kind of claim super status. Anyways, protests should have worked, but a country like Israel doesn't care about humanity or protesting. Yeah, but you can, if you basically demand a few things from your own country, let's say in the US, or somebody in the government in your country in the West somewhere, then you do it. Like, think about it. Why do Muslim countries support Palestine, and why does West support Israel? It's simple. It's because of the values. They don't look at the conflict. They just see Israel, that's a democracy, it's part of the West. Palestine is not a democracy, it's not part of the West, it's Arabs. So they choose. But nobody looks at the actual conflict and the number of dead people. And it's clear. It's not a fight that you can win. They have bricks. These people have military rockets. How is that fair? They have unlimited funding. These people are oppressed and ethnically cleansed. And the territory is being taken away from them. So how is this fair? You can't compare Hamas or whatever rockets they have with Israeli rockets. It's the most advanced military in the world, with US as the most advanced military as well. So it's not a fair comparison to compare these two things, right? Anyways, I see some comments. The United Nations state that an occupied people have a right to resist occupation. Israel is doing Palestine what Germany did to them. Yeah, it's pretty strange. And then if you go back like a few thousand years ago, Romans kicked out Jews from Israel. And then Romans ruled the Israel. Then Muslims came in and they ruled Israel. Then Jews ruled Israel. Then again, Muslims came in. And the overall length of a rule, Muslims overall were ruling for over 800 years in Israel. And Jews and Christians could practice their religion. They were able to attend mosques, synagogues, and churches. They could build them and they could practice, because it's a holy site for all three religions. And if you think about, the payments and jizya and all these things, the taxes that they were paying, if you think about zakat is sometimes more expensive for Muslims because it applies to Muslims, Sharia. Sharia doesn't apply to non-Muslims. So if Christians are living in 1,000 years ago in Jerusalem, the laws of Islam didn't apply to them. They had their own laws. They could drink alcohol. Christians could drink wine and still live under the Muslim law and still uphold the Muslim, still have their Christian sort of judiciary systems and stuff, but they would be under the entire Islamic sort of government, similar as in Spain, in Andalusia, where the Muslims were ruling, but they were ruling a minority. So Muslims were a minority by ruling the entire Spain and the entire country, but the law of Islam just applies to Muslims. So if people are living under a Muslim law who are non-Muslim, they don't have to obey Sharia this much. Now, this doesn't go for 100% Muslim country like Saudi Arabia, or if you have Iran or something like that. Those are different cases, but if you have a mixed population, it's different. And it's very important to know the history, right? And I'm still learning, because I think the most important thing is history, because we miss context a lot. We miss what's going on. And usually conflicts like these, they start off like thousands of years ago and they just go back and forth forever. Because you can go back and say like, well, Hamas attacked Israel, so therefore they are attacking them. But then you can say, well, Israelis came to Al-Aqsa and they detained 500 people and they beat them up. And then they say, well, they had bricks and they were trying to attack Israel. And then you can say, well, they had bricks because Israel takes their weapons and they don't have a way to protect themselves. And you can go like this for thousands, like you can go like this for a very long time until you get to like the first instance. And yeah, just generally, it's good to know that Jews, Christians, and Muslims, they are not like, they don't hate each other. Like Jews and Muslims lived together for a long time in Israel before, like thousands of years ago. They were living together under Muslim law. Like this wasn't a problem that the media portrays like Muslims hate Jews. This is not the case. It's just with the Palestine. It doesn't have, there are Jews who who disagree with Israel, who live in New York, for example, where you have like hundreds of thousands of Jews, and they support Palestine. So because it's Zionism, it's the different movement of Judaism that claimed Israel, and the first founder of Israel in 48, I think. The guy was a terrorist. He blew up 92 people in Jerusalem in a hotel. He killed 92 people, and they made him a prime minister, I think, or a president. So isn't that crazy? Like, how can you do that? Anyways, history is full of problems, but I just wanted to get your thoughts. And I'm going to read a few comments. Samira, a lot of people try to say that the fight is mutual and equal. Did they see the bombings in Gaza? How do people still defend? Yeah. The worst thing is, like, all my friends, they put up pictures of Israel, like we stand with Israel on Facebook or something. And I posted like, I support Palestine. And they all were like, Jan, what? And I was like, just look at the statistics of dead people. That's all you need to look at. You have 25 dead people on Palestine side and 2 people on the Israeli. I'm not talking about Muslims who take out the Jews out of car and beat them up. Like, this is obviously bad. Like, also Muslims are doing bad things, obviously, but it's just an effect of the entire conflict. But if you look at the number of dead people, it's clearly not normal. Let's read some comments. Israel is not a true democracy; it's an ethno-military state. Yeah, it's founded on democratic principles, but it is not a true democracy in a sense where it's founded on the Judeo. It's a predestination of Jewish people, and sort of like Zionist is a very ethnically based ideology, right? So you have different levels. Some Zionists just claim that Jews are chosen people, but you can live with them. Some say no, Jews are the only people, and the others are nothing compared to them. Christians and Muslims are non-Muslims or just atheists. They are not relevant, so we can kill them. So you have different levels of Zionism as well. So not everybody who's a Zionist is like this crazy Zionist. But yeah, I agree. It's very difficult because they came out of Holocaust, and they were ethnically cleansed. So I can imagine just like talking to, like, think about like a grandfather of like a Jewish person who lives in Israel now. And if they were alive and they saw what Israel is doing, would they be happy? Like, they must be thinking like, this is crazy. Germans did this to us. You guys are doing it to them. It's crazy, right? And if you look at who hates Jews based on history, it's clearly not Muslims, even though there were wars. But who killed the most Jews? Which nationality killed the most Jews? Tell me. Well, it was Europeans. Europeans hate Jews. You cannot say you're a Jew here. I mean, it's not something you can say. There's Jewish corner here in Prague as well. But people hate Jews here in Europe. There's very anti-Semitic Europe. Especially in Germany, they killed 6 million of them. And then in Russia, there were pogroms. They killed Jewish people in Ukraine. Millions. So Europeans are not the fans of Jews. It's oftentimes portrayed like Muslims against Christians and Jews and Judeo-Christian values. This is a nonsense because Christians technically they hate Jews. What they did to Jesus, peace be upon him. What did Jews did to Jesus? Think about it. They killed him. So why do Christians, like, this is like the basic idea, right? And then you have to just think about it, like, based on history. In Europe, Jews had always a bad time. They had a better time under a Muslim law than in Europe. They were always persecuted. I'm not talking about the US. So when they went to the US, of course, things changed because US is, there were people who were Jewish, and the whole idea of the US was to be a secular country, and even though based on Christian principles, but to be really secular and they welcoming to minorities, especially Jews. So Jews moved to the New York and the US, and they could settle and create a great prosperity for them, which is great. I mean, this is cool. This is what should happen. US is a specific country in the world which really is strange in the concept that it's not based on ethnicity or nothing. It's based on values, which are Western, but you can practice your thing if you go there as a minority. Anyways, That's what I think, but there's much to it. There's a lot of available lectures, books online about historical depth. Yeah, historical depth is crazy. 19-year span is nothing in history life. Yeah, I agree. Netanyahu should go to prison. That's why he's making the settlers do what they want. He can make worse to save his body. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult because you have ethnic cleansing. What happened in Bosnia to Muslims, where they killed, how many Muslims were killed, and the guy from Serbia who killed them, he is now being sentenced, I think, for war crimes in Netherlands. But it took like how long? Like decades. So these things take time, right? Because until then, later people realize like what's happening, and it's strange. Like in Rwanda, there was a genocide. I'm not sure how many people died, but I'm pretty sure it was more than 1 million people. And this happened in the 90s, and nobody did anything. The entire world did nothing. So you can never rely on UN or anything of this. Like, that's why you need to be strong. A lot of people, yes, we already read this. Israel detains Palestinian children for 6 months without charge for throwing rocks. This is completely inhuman. Why aren't Western Christians coming to defense of Christian Palestinian suffering? Yeah, you see, because you have to support Israel. Because if you say Israel is wrong as a European, you're kind of saying, well, I support Hamas and terrorism. And then you'll be looked at like a crazy person. Hamas blames Israel, Israel blames Hamas, but ultimately it's the Palestinians who are being killed. That's exactly it. Like, just look at it like unbiased. Look at it unbiased. Don't pick a side. Look at the conflict unbiased and see, okay, Hamas is crazy, Israel is crazy, but who kills most people? Who has the power in the conflict? And there it is. It's easy as that. According to Golden Mayor. 1984. Let me know what do you mean by that? Hamas came to power because Israel controls. Yes, Israel uses Gaza to test out weapons. Children in Gaza are dying of disease. Yeah, I agree. They can't get water. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they do. They target civilian residential buildings and stuff. Pretty crazy, right? It's terrorism. Israel is worse than ISIS because they are doing it well. Everybody, including Iran, knows what they're doing. Israel is doing it live, and Americans are supporting it. It's crazy. Yeah, everybody's supporting Israel, not just America. Everybody in Europe. You know why? Because we don't know about the conflict. You just hear this. This is what you hear, okay? Let me just break it down. You hear this. Jewish people in Israel, which we killed. So we have a bad memory. It was 70, 80 years ago where, like here in Prague or in Slovakia, thousands of Jews were shipped on trains and killed. And we all know the stories from my grandfather and grandmother when Jewish people were being killed and they did nothing. So we feel bad that we allowed ethnic cleansing of Jews here in Europe. We feel bad. We have this like thing where it's like in America you have the history with slavery and all that. Here we have the history of allowing thousands, hundreds of thousands and millions of Jews being killed while doing nothing about it because we didn't think it's going to happen. And so we think like, okay, they have Israel, so they're fine. And then there are these Arabs. Why are they there? And we should just stay cool. And then if you look at Europeans and if you look at the Jews, we look the same. So they are white. Usually they come from even European countries. So like Jews in Israel are not from Israel. They are from like Hungary, Poland, here, Czech Republic. So they look like us and we relate to them because they are like white. And some of them are not, obviously, but most of them, you look at them and you're like, yeah. And then you see the values of Israel on paper. It sounds like a European country. So you're like, okay, let me just support Israel. Then you look at Palestine, you see these brown men, big beards, angry. And you're like, oh, this is extreme. And then you look at like Hamas, you look at terrorism, and you're like, you can't as a European to support Palestine. It's like strange. You would say like you're supporting terrorism. But this is not the case. We all know that. Like it's breaking down now. People are understanding it. Yeah. Okay, Ahmed, what's up? Israel's existence cannot be justified. Yeah, it cannot. Because even if you go back to first principles and they say like Jews were here, before Christians and before Romans. No, who was there 4,000 years before Jews were people in Egypt. Canaanians, I think they are called. They were the original settlers for 4,000 years before Jews came there. You have 10 tribes of Israel, right? So it's not the case. Like, it doesn't work like that. The original Egyptians should be claiming it, right? But if everybody, like, think about it, if every country claimed their heritage, we would never do anything. We would just kill each other. Because, like, I can say, like, no, Slovakia was always here, but no, it wasn't. It's a new country. So maybe Hungarian Empire can claim like Slovak land because it was part of the Slovak land. But then somebody can say, no, Hungarian Empire, it was part of the Roman Empire before. So I'm claiming everything as Italy. And then we say, hey, wait a second, Roman Empire. Before the Roman Empire, there was, different empires. And it's like, who knows? Like, this goes thousands of years in history. Like, if you think like this, you're never gonna move past anything. That's stupid. The Bible doesn't justify from historical angle. Yeah, it's just emotional angle based on Holocaust, right? So that's the entire thing. Yeah, that's it. Isa, good name. Rwanda genocide was provoked by France. Bosnia, sure. Bosnia is crazy. I mean, this is Srebrenica, right? This is behind my doors. Yeah. We never had here history. We only had ethnically cleansed Jews. So we only had that as a big thing. And then we were ethnically cleansed. So Czechs and Slovaks were ethnically cleansed by Germans. And we were being attacked and killed until we had uprising and stuff like that, and we killed Germans. We actually ethnically cleansed Germans then. In Czech Republic, you have the Sudetenlands. The whole World War II started here when Hitler came to Prague, and he claimed that he wants to take out German citizens from Czech Republic because it's the next country next to Germany, and it's called Sudetenlands. So he said those Germans are being oppressed by Czech people. They can't get water. They can't, like, similar thing with Palestine. He used that narrative, Hitler, to say Czech people are doing this. We will occupy Sudetenlands, which are part of the Czechoslovakia. And there's a speech on YouTube where you can find Hitler talking about in 1938, 1 year before the war, how he is going to save Germans in Czechoslovakia because they are being ethnically cleansed. This wasn't the case, but he used that narrative because Germans were a minority here. And then Germany is much bigger. So then they met with the UK, US, and they were like, no, Hitler, don't do it. Let's sign a Munich agreement. Let's do like, you get Sudetenland, you get the Czech Republic, the northern part, but you won't go further. So this is the only thing you're getting. And the Neville Chamberlain, the UK British Prime Minister, went to the UK and he said like, yeah, we gave Hitler Czechoslovakia, but he's going to be cool. He's not going to go anywhere else. This is cool. And everybody knew like, this is going to be a problem. And then in 39, yeah, of course, he just said like, F it, let's go to Poland. And then he just attacked Poland, claimed France, and that's the end of it. So it was like giving him the first, thing in Czechoslovakia started this whole thing. And then Slovakia was partnered with the Germans, and we sort of killed our own Jews. This is a bad history we have. And then we were made a state, Slovak Republic, under Germans. We're a Nazi puppet state. Czech Republic wasn't. Czech Republic fought. And then we ended up as a Czechoslovakia again after the war because of Slovak national uprising when we got rid of Germans. And after the Second World War, all Germans had it tough here. They were shipped away. Their entire properties were taken because they cleansed us. So this is the same story in every country, I guess. These crazy things. But yeah, the same arguments are being used. Like, you have a minority, is being oppressed. And it's difficult. Sometimes this is true. Like in Palestine, yes, this is actually happening. In Bosnia, this was actually happening. But sometimes people use this into their own political thing, right? Crazy stuff. And the thing is, Islam between East and West. Mohammed, I'm reading that. A guy gave it to me here from Bosnia, so I got it. This book is great. Yeah. I haven't finished it yet. Yeah. In terms of studying, just let's move on to another topic, because there's a bigger issue here. Israel, Gaza, Israel, Palestine. I think the most important thing that people don't. Let me just read the comments first, because I'm all over the place. Hamas are not terrorists. This is Western propaganda. Well, this is a problem because they are officially on a terrorist watch. You can't say that. We need some arguments here, because Hamas killed innocents, so you can't do that. When we came back to Islam, Allah subhanahu was sent another sounds good. There are some Israelis who look like Palestinians. Yes, this is true. I'm talking more about the European Jews. I think it's both. I don't think many Jews actually agree with what Israel is doing, even if they live in Israel. I think it's more of a political thing for sure. And then I think just a small percentage of Jews claim to be chosen people. It's the same as with Muslim crazy ISIS terrorists or Al-Qaeda, all these people who should be killed for what they are doing. Like, I hate, because they're destroying the image of Islam. And it's the same with Zionism. Like, you have this minority who took over Judaism and then claims Israel and all these things. And many Jews are fine. They're good people. Jews are okay. But they are being like, oh, why are they doing this in Israel? It's like when you see an ISIS attack somewhere and you're like, as a Muslim, you're like, no, this is going to be bad for us. Again, people are going to ask me, why are we doing this? I had to explain to my uncle. And I'm like, why are you asking me? Like, this has nothing to do with me and Islam. This is clearly prohibited. These fatwas are made up and all those things. But, so same thing, actually. Like, you take a religion and put it into extreme. So it can be done through Islam or Zionism or whatever, or even Christianity. You can take it to extreme. But you have a separation between church and state, and in Islam you don't. So this is the main problem. This is what I want to talk about as well. Torah is not a source, and Britain is the main reason why the world is currently messed up. I don't know. That's a bold statement. Britain is fine. I mean, as you mean their politics or what? Their history, because there's many countries who, you can just say one country, did everything. It's a lot of things, Unfortunately, European history is very difficult and different, and there's a racism involved in it, because you identify with people who look like you. So I will identify with white people more than with Arabs forever. But I now identify as a Muslim. So if somebody has a Muslim belief, like I met a guy at the protest, Mohammed, and I told him after a few questions, what I posted yesterday about Palestine. And I said, after like an interview I had with him, I said like, hey dude, I'm a Muslim. And he was like, mashallah. And he didn't expect that, somebody who looks like me. And I was like, yeah. So I identify with him there more than I identify with my race or ethnicity. But I also, identify on those things, but more now on the belief, because I chose it. I'm a Muslim by choice. And that's what it is. La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ahmed is a secular, Israel is a secular state. Yeah. It's a secular state. Not really. I mean, maybe on paper, but the entire claim of Israel is not based on secularism. They could go to Uganda. They could go to Germany after the 1948, but they went to Palestine. Why? If you speak Arabic, listen to blah, blah, blah. He explains everything. Yeah, I don't know Arabic, so that's my problem. Leader of the Muslims are busy with their own interests. The worst thing with the Muslims and like countries and Muslim politics is like, it's terrible. It's the worst thing ever, because I've heard, I was reading a book about history of Islam, and you can see there was a golden age until, I don't know, 15th, 14th century. And then Muslims, decided they want to be like the West. So they want to appeal to West by imitating whatever they're doing. And this is such a strange strategy. Like, why not just continue to do what you want to do and be in line with the entire deen and the purpose of your existence and create a great civilization? But yeah, there was a big decline of Islam, and I don't know what happened in these 400 years and why this happened. And yes, colonialism and all these things, and West was superior, but still Muslims decided they want to appeal to West. Like, they chose, they subconsciously, these Muslim countries said like West is superior because they have better technology, they have better this, so we want to be like them, we want to try this. No, this is a losing battle. And now we can see there's this complex, like from if they talk to somebody, like there's this complex of inferiority. Strangely enough, as a new Muslim, I don't have this complex. I know West is messed up. I know what is going on, but I know when I'm talking to Muslims, they all are trying to fit in here, and that's fine, but it's just like a strange thing, this inferiority. And that's also the psychological reason for these wars and these things. Racism from people who are white or who are European, they look down on people who are brown. This is fact. Or black, not fact, but this is like underneath everything, because they don't look like you don't trust them, and this is sad, but this is what is going on. There's proven in history that white people wanted to colonize because they were trying to bring enlightenment to these backwards people in Africa, in Middle East. Why did they feel like it? Because they thought they are superior based on technology or their understanding of art and the world, but they never comprehended the wisdom behind these tribes or these civilizations like Islam. Like, if you look at Islam, if you look at the science and the entire things that Islamic civilization came up with, and if you look at Quran, like, you can see a great source of truth, a great source of happiness and contentment for entire humanity. But they didn't, and they chose to oppress them. Sad. Like, this entire dunya is sad. Like, this is what Allah said, like, this is not the place to be happy, you're gonna struggle. So yeah, YouTube is closing people's account who defend Islam. They block comments that defend Islam. Let's see. YouTube, you're coming after me. What's the solution? It's the qadr of Allah, man. As a Muslim, you should be fine. Like, you know what's going on. You know every oppressor will eventually get replaced, so it's fine. I mean, it's difficult right now, but it's fine. I mean, I know you guys have been Muslim for a longer time than me, so I just sympathize with Palestinians. Maybe you know somebody there, or you are originally from Palestine, so it's very different from you, right? The reason why I'm saying Britain is for oh, you're talking about that, right? The Britain, right? I know this happened in 1917. Yeah, that's what people did. Like, they took over. It's sad. Yeah, I was checking the live stream from Gaza as well. I'm Chechen, and someone European says Muslim that looks like me. It's something I can't comprehend. Even the Circassian brothers are all Muslim. We are the Caucasians. Yeah, Chechen people and people in what's the region? Dagestan. Oh, yeah. There is a slight difference in the look. So yeah. Hey man, I don't know. I'm just telling you what people think. You would treat the same path as was trying. Why those before you inch and inch to myself so much that they had entered into the hall of lizard? You follow them in this also. Yeah, this is what people do. Like, you have to. It's pretty crazy. Like, to think independently, you have to go against your own belief systems. I used to have bad belief systems, and I used to think bad things, which I don't think now. So you have to at some point examine where is the truth. And even if I'm a Muslim, I don't look at the Palestine as like, oh, they are all great, but I look at the conflict and see that this is not good. Yes. Arab banking by history is banking also. Yeah, I know. All the banks, gave them loans. Pretty crazy, right? The whole Middle East took to nationalism. Yeah, I know. The Turks decided that they want to be secular and they want to replace Islam with nationalism. Ataturk. I love Turkey, but no, the answer is Islam. The problem is, now let's talk about the main issue here, but I'm just gonna check. I'm from Palestine. My relatives get blown up every day. We get calls every day. That's crazy, Fadi. Inshallah, this is insane. Like, I hope everything will be good. Good. I'm in America now because it's hard to survive, right? Yeah, I've heard a lot of them are there. Now, here's the deal. Why are people afraid of Islam? Non-Muslims, as me, living in the West. Because West has power, so this is important. Why are people afraid of Islam? I'm going to tell you why. It's not Allah. It's not Tawheed. It's not Ramadan. It's not fasting. It's not marriage or hijab. It's not your mosque or personal relationship with Allah, praying 5 times a day. People are fine with this. They have no problem with this. And nobody has a problem with this. They just don't understand some of these things. But these are minor things. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Before I say this, let me know. What do you think people are afraid of when it comes to Islam? When they first hear Islam? Do you have any thoughts? People are afraid of Sharia. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Good point. Good point. Yes. The Turks chose secularism over Islam. Yeah. It's easy to lose Islam. It's pretty crazy. Terrorism, Sharia. Now, and this is the thing. You are all right. And many people online, when they are doing apologetics or something for Islam, they focus on targeting Christians and debating different faiths, debating non-Muslims, atheism. But nobody talks about this. The main objection, the main source of fear that people have when you say Islam to somebody who's non-Muslim is this. Is Sharia, terrorism, violence. This is it. So what can we, like, if we take these things, how can we change this? And I have a plan, not for the entire Ummah and the entire world, but I have a plan. Westerns believe restrictions. Yeah, that's one thing as well. Different values. But mostly people can be the personal things in Islam, where the values, homosexuality, all these things are sort of secondary, right? Drugs, drinking, yeah. But again, we're talking about secondary things. Lebanon. Yeah, nationalism is bad. So the thing is, people do not understand the history of Islam. People do not even know what is Sharia, but it's distributed in the media. So how can we change this? How can I change this? Mainly me as well here, because I can explain to people, even though I'm not a scholar, at least give them an idea what this means. And that's why I need to study. And that's why I'm buying books about different periods in Islamic history, because I know Muslims, Jews, and Christians lived in peace for hundreds of years. So stop saying that we hate Jews. And I know that Muslims have the entire military law in Sharia, which, for example, there's a different, for example, responsibilities if you have a slave. You can't kill the entire population of people if you defeat them in the conflict. You can enslave them and give them rights, and they can be purchased. They can purchase freedom. You have a different judiciary system in Islam, where you have to have, in Sharia, you have to have witnesses for not just divorce and all these things, but also the chopping of the hand and all these things, right? This is very controversial, right? And people need to really understand this. because sometimes countries, Islamic countries, take it to extreme. Like there was like in different Islamic countries, which I'm not gonna mention, people did ethnically cleanse other minorities. This had happened, but this is not Sharia. This is not based in Islam. We have to really understand this. And how was Islam spread? It wasn't spread by the sword, but by dawah mostly. Like the entire the entire Indonesia, which has 200 plus million Muslims, and is a secular sort of country where you have different religious also minorities. I think the entire there was no military conquest in Indonesia. This never happened. So how did Islam end up there? Well, through converting people. But how did you convert people? You gave them dawah. So you came there as a Muslim trader or a businessman. You saw they sell spices or something. You started chatting it up. You maybe, found some friends, found common ground, and then you told them what you believe in. You said, hey, there is only one God. What do you guys believe? They said, we believe in these idols. And you said, hey, this doesn't make sense. There's also only one source. Do you guys want to know? Yes, here's the Quran. Learn it, memorize it. Let's do it. And then that's it. In terms of military conquest, when there was a conflict, this happened. Of course, there's a blood happened, and each Muslim country has its own crazy history, right? But Islam was not spread mainly through occupying and just killing people everywhere they came, and all these things, beheadings. These things are the terrorism didn't exist. Terrorism, which is now associated with Islam, didn't exist in Islam until recently, last 100 years. So what changed? I mean, the attacks from the West and the occupation and everything like that. There's 70 conditions before you chop off the hand. Yeah, but you're looking at it. I understand your point, but it's like considered barbaric, right? But we have to understand, non-Muslims don't believe in Allah, so they don't have this certainty like everything that comes from Allah is good. So I think there's a bigger mission to be played in dawah. The Armenian genocide was done by atheist Turks. They weren't Muslim. Yeah, 1 million people, right? Yeah. Listen, I think, and this is, I think, what really interests me, because I studied international relationships. I have credibility. I have a master's degree in this. And I think going deeper into the history of Islam is important, and going deeper into Sharia and explaining it to people is really important, and giving them a new narrative and really breaking down like the spread of Islam, the military law, what happened in Egypt, how did Islam get to Pakistan, what happened to all these things. Why in Saudi, for example, you can't build a church? Like what's happening in 100% Muslim country? What happens in like a mixed, like in India, which is a secular country, but you have like 200 million Muslims? What are the Islamic law there? What happened in Andalusia, right? What Sharia says, because Sharia is complex. Like the political part of Sharia is just a small part. It's not the most. Sharia is mostly about individual, and it will never be applied in the West. I don't think it should, because the law of the land is different than Sharia. So Muslims can live here, practice their religion, have a mosque, congregate, do dawah, and live in peace. That's all we want. I don't want to conquer Czech Republic and make it Islamic. I don't think it's necessary. I think people can choose what they want to do. They want to do atheism, they want to do Christianity, sure, go ahead. But let me practice what I want to do, because the law of the land is not Islam. It will never be here, maybe in thousands of years. But the apostates and all those things, like, for example, this doesn't apply to non-Muslims. This applies to Muslims who are living in Islamic lands. Only Islam, where Islam is tied into politics and judiciary system, and you're basically apostating from the society. So you're not apostating from a religion. Plus, if you look up a term apostasy, it's not a great translation of the actual word from the hadiths and everything. Apostasy is not the 100% correct translation. It means leaving behind sort of, it's more like a treason type of thing, and tied into military again. And this was used mostly, as far as I can tell, maybe you can correct me on this, but when the Sahabas and everybody was in, they had the military, and if somebody decided that they will leave the military, that's when the Prophet Muhammad said, like, they should deserve to be punished by death, because that's apostasy. You're technically leaving your military, and you can go to another, let's say, country, and tell them like the secrets of the war or something, or the country, right? You can't have this. This is the same as like Edward Snowden in the US will be sentenced to death or something for treasoning US and giving out information about CIA and about NSA, because he decided that this information is more important than his entire nationality. So he did apostate. He apostated from a US citizenship. He went to Russia. He can never come back. But he decided that the information about NSA spying on people is more important than his thing. So he decided to apostate, and that's apostasy. So it's not like, I'm not a Muslim now, nothing will happen to me here in Prague. Nothing. These ex-Muslims who are in 100% Islamic countries, yes, there might be some conditions there. But again, if you do it publicly, if you're causing disruption in a society which is based on Islam, then you're going against the Sharia that you guys have. So this is delicate, right? This has to be explained delicately, and I still don't understand it completely, but I think this is something I want to focus on, because Tawheed, atheism, cosmological arguments, establishing Allah exists, making sure the revelation is the correct one, Quran, why is it the most preserved revelation? All these things are easy to explain because they are true. They are like very clear. But then if you look at Sharia, for people, this is like, I'm scared. Like when you say Islam, people are like, they are taking over and they want to kill us and chop off our heads. This is what people think. So we need to attack that. We don't need to attack as an image. We don't need to talk about, because even if you establish that Allah exists and they start believing that, or you establish that, okay, Islam is peaceful or something, but then there's Sharia and all these things, and they have these preconceived notions, you need to go to the source. And they don't need to know about Allah. They don't need to know about these things. You can describe it without that they have to accept Islam. You can describe it through logical principles. You know, what's the thing with homosexuality? What about this? You know, and yeah, it's just something people have to understand. Yeah, it's a very difficult topic, but this is something I want to look into because, you know, people don't understand it. Like I was explaining about jizya and zakat. Like, yes, there was a tax on Christians and Jews and other people living under Islamic law, but the tax is lower than zakat because it was only paid by men who were able to pay it. Women and children or people who are, I think, old, they didn't have to pay this tax. So this was only paid by a few people, and zakat is more percentage than this. So Muslims were taxed more under Islamic law than non-Muslims. So how is this unfair? You still pay government taxes everywhere. Okay, so it's simple. Those things have to be explained to people because nobody's explaining this. So I think, yeah, I'm just going to look into that, order a few books on these things, blasphemy, because yeah, and then it ties into terrorism and it ties into violence. Because yes, there are violent verses in the Quran, but if there's context, usually very small, very not too many, but there are some violent verses, especially with Mecca-Medina battle, and just explaining them and saying like when violence is permitted, when it is not permitted, easy. But they have this idea, so we have to change this. Also changing, like, can Muslims live in the West? Yes, we can, and we are not trying to do Sharia here. We are not trying to change the law of the land, because you have to respect the law of the land. As Prophet Muhammad said, peace be upon him, where you live outside of Islamic land, you respect the land if they allow you to practice your religion. This is simple. So again, we have this misunderstanding. What is jihad? What is internal jihad? What is external jihad? What is fatwa? oh, Bin Laden did fatwa. Like, we have to explain these things, like, what is fatwa? What is it based on? What law does it follow? And all these things. Yeah. And I'm saying not every Muslim government is great. Some Muslims did genocide. Some Muslims killed a lot of people for nothing. There's ISIS. There's Al Qaeda. There's all these terrorist groups. But there's a reason, because there was a giant war in these areas, and this is the answer. I don't agree with it, and I think 100% nobody in this stream agrees with it, because these are terrorist people. These are killing one innocent human being is like killing the entire humanity. This is written in the Quran. So you can never justify killing innocent people. This is against everything Islam preaches. This is against everything. And there's a clear rule in Sharia for military conquest or for when you are being attacked. But this is not like you can just come up with your fatwas. So yeah, that's what I think. That was my biggest fear, because I thought, like, Muslims are coming here, taking over Europe, doing Sharia. We will have mosques, and then in the mosque, they come in the mosque, and what they do, they are planning to attack these holy sites. They're planning terrorist attacks. So people, like crazy white Christian people, will think like, well, I'm just gonna go there and kill them all, like what happened in New Zealand. That guy killed all the Muslims in the mosque because he thought that you go to mosque not to pray, but to plan terrorist attacks. Guys, we need to work on this, and it's a job of reverts. If you are a revert, you have this responsibility, especially if you live in a non-Muslim country, to explain this. I'm planning to do some dawah meetups here and some other things. Yeah, I would love to teach classes on it in the future if I get some knowledge. But yeah, I know there's much better people who are qualified to teach other things, but I think I have some background into politics and this relationship, international relationships and international law, and I would love to unpack Sharia and unpack history of Islam, because it's misused and it's not correct. It's not correct. And yeah, reverts can bridge the gap. Yeah. So yeah, I was a bit down over the weekend because when I realized what's happening in the Uyghurs in China and Palestine, and like, we are always going to be looked at weird, and I think this is the case, but we can at least, explain those things. Anyways, this is Islamophobia in a nutshell. And Islamophobia is real because people are afraid of Islam. For example, you have homophobia, but homophobia doesn't exist. Are you afraid of a gay person? I'm not afraid of gay person. So homophobia is not something like Islamophobia. Simple like that. Anyways, guys, this was my case. Let me see what's happening in the comments. Reverse can bridge the gap. Yeah. We Muslims should not promote Islamophobia. It's about xenophobia. Xenophobia is not we should call it anti-Muslim. Yeah, I mean, you have different terms, right? Yeah, I think if you leave someone, it's like burning for anything. There's a treason. Yeah. The thing is, like, people, we need to understand, like, some people, if they have to leave or something, and if you feel like whatever, you can't live in a Muslim majority country, then leave and don't go there. If you're a transgender person, you can't live in Saudi Arabia. If you decide to leave Islam and go to transgenderism, then you have to leave Saudi Arabia. Like, this is kind of how it works, right? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Something is a political stance. Yeah, I mean, their logic doesn't really exist, mostly. Let me see. Many apostate in Indonesia. So accurate account of history taught to the West. I agree with this. Yeah, Jennifer, what's going on? I don't have any. I'm just scratching the surface. I need to understand this more, guys. Apostates like apostates, Francis, I believe the ignorance of non-Muslims to feed the Muslims are evil. Yeah, and it's strange, right? Like when you watch these apostates or these ex-Muslims, and they are like, evil Islam is terrible, and then you're like, okay, let me try it out. Like me, let me become a Muslim and see what's happening. Go to mosque, and I see only great things like iftar, love, helping, brotherhood. Everything is great. Like if you identify on based on the belief, everything is good. If you opt out of that belief as ex-Muslim, then of course you're not gonna be welcomed. Like if I decide that my entire family is, I don't know how to say this. What would I say? My entire family is, you just decide to switch up your entire identity, then yeah, that's gonna have a massive impact. Like just this, like my entire family is Christian. I'm a Muslim. Of course, this doesn't work in the family. Of course, they have questions, and of course, you're not welcomed in a lot of places here. I can practice it, but really, for example, in Slovakia, I need 50,000 signatures to just go to mosque. So I can't really practice it. Or you are targeted as Muslim by a secret police. They're tapped into your phone. Or they are just looking at your books and claiming you're a terrorist. So technically you have freedom of religion, but it's difficult. So it's the difficult thing for Muslims also. In non-Muslim, it's the same thing. Like non-Muslims opting to Islam, like me, have difficult time just as ex-Muslims opting out of Islam, because you're opting out of your entire ecosystem, your government, your everything, and I'm opting in from everything I know. So all of my relationships are harmed. My friends, they are living harm, so I can't hang out with them that much. Simple. My family is fine, but again, they are not on the same page as me. So there's a conflict of ideas. My country, it's fine, but if it doesn't allow me to practice, it's gonna be a problem. So you have the same problem, right? It's the same concept. Oh yeah, you're not that unique, ex-Muslims. And most ex-Muslims leave because it's desire. Like sometimes I have this feeling like, oh, I want to smoke, or I want to do this. Oh, imagine if I was able to do this. What is this? We know what it is, shaitan. So that's a problem. Politics is terrible, right? Talking about it is like horrible. Muslims ruled India for 700. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep. Indonesia. Some of the biggest parts of Sharia, the non-Muslim is the punishment of apostates. Yeah. And some Muslims say like this doesn't apply, this is not real. I mean, it is real, but you have to really put it in context. Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I think I explained this. It's because we have the same values on paper. So as the West, you have to support Israel. Can you ask the same question? Why do Arab countries support Palestine and not Israel? It's the same thing, because you have the same values. So it's all values, Judeo-Christian versus Muslim, when it comes down to that. So that's why West supports Israel. And there's many reasons, but this is the underlying one. Bro, people left is slandering the Prophet. There's no compulsion in religion. The compulsion in religion applies to non-Muslims converting, right? Not opting out. So that's a different verse. Leaving Islam in the time of Prophet Muhammad, yes, and he didn't kill them, I know. That's why It's not. So people left Islam and even joined the opposite party. I think this is in Quraysh, where people, they made a deal with Muhammad, peace be upon him, that when somebody from your ummah leaves Islam, they will join our thing. And he said, I'm cool with that. So yeah, this is mostly not. This is mostly again about mostly tied to military thing and the Islamic law of the land. If the constitution is based on Islam, which it is not in many countries. Oh yeah. Yeah, no government is based on Sharia, 100%. Saudi Arabia is not based on Sharia. Like women shouldn't drive. This is a made-up thing in Saudi. This is not happening in other Muslim countries, right? Concept of monarchy, yeah. Exactly. Like you have sultan, and then you have the ulama who should control him. This doesn't happen there. So yeah, the whole family running the show in Saudi, plus they are being like corrupted as hell. And they kill people in Yemen. Like, what's happening with Saudi? Like, what? Yeah. Apis followers, a majority Hindu, they are not ignorant about Islam. You need to look into their Hindutva ideology. Yeah, I mean, stay out of that. Don't even look at that. Like, I figure, like, even if somebody leaves a comment like, I support Israel under my Palestine video, I don't even respond. It's pointless. You're not gonna do anything over the comment on YouTube. Plus, you're fueling the hate because eventually you're gonna scream at each other. So just leave it at be. And ignorance is the best thing. If somebody's like attacking you, just like say like, okay, cool, and just don't give it your attention. Just go move forward. You know, simple as that. What values are common between Jews and Christians? Capitalism. Many values, but also many values are in contrast. But you can say the West is founded on the Judeo-Christian values. What is that? It's very difficult to define. And then you can see that before the Holocaust, the West mainly claimed Christian values. It was after the Holocaust where they said, okay, it's Judeo-Christian values, because they felt bad for killing them. So it's Christian values mostly. Greek, Roman values, right? Where are the Jews in Europe? Tell me. They were living here as like merchants, doing business. This is what they do a lot. But yeah, that's it. If you look at some law in Talmud and in Torah and all these things, like it's pretty intense. It's much more extreme in some cases than anything in Islam you can find. Ireland is Western, but they support Palestine. Yeah, you have different. It's all politics, man, because Ireland supports Palestine not because it's correct, but because they're a small country in the UK and they left the UK. Like, not left, but basically, even Slovakia, I think, doesn't have a problem that much with Palestine. But Czechs, they will support Israel. So it's all about your context. For example, we in Slovakia, we don't have a double nationality. You have to choose your nationality. That's why we don't recognize Kosovo as a country, which is under Serbia, part of and Albania. And every country in Europe recognizes Kosovo except like 7 countries in the world, in Europe. And those countries like Spain, Slovakia, and I think a few of them, they don't recognize Kosovo not because it's based on some logical argument. It's their self-interest, because we have a giant minority of Hungarian people, 500,000. So if we recognize Kosovo, they will come to us and say, hey, we want to create our own country here. So then we will lose 500,000 people. So same thing is Ireland. Like Palestine, you always look at these things. You have to you have these things putting the context, right? Why people support each other. Because you have alliances, you have the same ideas, you have the same problems. In Spain, you have a giant minority of Catalonians. Same like Kosovo. So if you accept Kosovo in Serbia, then you have to accept Catalonians in Spain, which they don't want to. So they don't accept Kosovo. This is how it works. This is international relationships in a nutshell. It's all based on crazy stuff. Now women are allowed to drive. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the values. I mean, Mr. Rorschach. Yeah, I know the movie. The values. It's a very vague term. What does it mean? Jews hate Jesus. Yes, Jews kill Jesus. That's why Christians. I mean, but then Jesus died for Christian sins. So, and then he, they are being, what's it called? Oh, he died for the sins, so they are being saved. They can go to heaven. So they should actually be happy for Jews that they killed Jesus, peace be upon him, because otherwise they wouldn't go to heaven. It's pretty messed up. Many Latin American countries for Israel, yeah. Yeah, politics like international relations are messed up. Yeah, exactly. You have to look at the history, context, what happened. Yeah, there was terrorism in Ireland as well. Problems. All right, guys. Well, we did 1 hour 15 minutes. Well, thank you so much. NASA, where is it? NASA. Thank you so much. And yeah, I want to do deeper topics on Sharia and all these things because I think this is not covered anywhere by any channels on YouTube in this sense from some reverts. So yeah, I'd like to help. I think there's many people like in Sapiens Institute tackling science, tackling atheism, talking about Big Bang, talking about these things. And that's good, but this is not something people are afraid of. There's a bigger thing. Anyways, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with me. Let's make dua for people in Palestine and you Uyghurs in China and all the oppressed people, and not just Muslims, everybody who's being oppressed, because we know it's gonna end and we know what's gonna happen. And yeah, we know, like as Muslims, we know. So it's great to be here, and it's great to have a relationship with you. Hopefully, I'm gonna continue making some videos. I don't know what next will I do. There's another protest next week in Israeli embassy, so I might go there and talk to Jews and ask them, what do you guys think? And then yeah, I'm getting married on Tuesday. So that's gonna be exciting. And then I don't know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm flying to Istanbul in a few weeks. Finally, I mean, it's crazy because my fiance was getting her passport, so we got the passport. We can do the COVID thing and go to Istanbul. And if somebody is in Turkey, mashallah, let's meet up. Let's hit some coffee spots and let's do some vlogs. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Mashallah. Yep. I mean, marriage is marriage. Next, actually, I have booked a great interview with Dr. Steph. I think his name is. He is a Muslim who is revered from Greece, and he studied. He has a book on the history of Islam in Europe and history of Islam in Africa, and he knows everything about it. He's in his 50s, I think, and he's gonna chat with me. So we're gonna talk about Israel and Palestine, probably the back story into like very old history, what happened, and we're also gonna chat about the entire Islamic history, like the Islamic Golden Age, and just figuring out, okay, where are the misconceptions? Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for congratulations. Dr. Steph is awesome. Yeah, he's good. Well, thank you, guys. And I want to do more live streams, so maybe I'll catch you next week. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, and have a great week.